Hello and happy Thursday. Welcome to episode 5 of Makelight Live. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the importance of learning from failure and making sure that we grow every time we fail or something goes wrong, and we don't just dwell in it, or indeed that we're not just afraid of failing. So I'm going to be talking to you about that. I'm also going to be sharing my 3 favourite things of the week, and I will also answer any questions that you have. So if you are watching this live on Facebook, please leave your questions just underneath and I will be able to answer them. If you are watching this as a replay, either on Facebook, on my blog, or over on YouTube, and you have a question, then please feel free to leave your question as well, and I will be able to respond with an answer either in next week's episode or in a text, written text to you. So thank you for joining me. I can see a few people joining in, so please do say hello if you are here. And as I said, if you have any comments about what I'm going to say, or you want to leave a question either about the topic that I'm talking about or about anything else, then please leave it underneath and I will get to questions after I've talked a little bit about this topic. So this is something that I feel very, very passionate about, and it's something that I try to do all the time, and I regularly do it at the end of every month. So at the end of every month, I spend some time looking at what has gone well, what hasn't gone well, so my failures, and how I can improve and learn from those. Oh, I've just realised that my phone is still on. Sorry, I'm just going to switch that off. My phone is normally on silent, but it was on not on silent this morning because we were waiting to hear if school was open, but school is open, so my children are at school, so I was able to do this. So sorry about that. So at the beginning of every month, beginning or end, so either at the last day of the month or the first day of the new month, I sit down and I reflect on the month that has gone by. And this is really to make sure, first of all, that I'm celebrating my wins, and I talked to you about that last week. So if you didn't see that, then catch up on that episode about the importance of setting our own vision of success and making sure that we celebrate it. But then I also look at what hasn't gone well. Now, this isn't always very nice. It can feel like, maybe things haven't gone very well, and you maybe feel like you're being judged or you're judging yourself, and you feel like it should always work, everything should always work, and everything should always be successful. But that's not true, and that's not how we grow anyway. So the important thing is to write down the things that didn't go well, and then very quickly work out what you can do better in the coming month. So what can you learn? And I try to learn from little things that have gone wrong and big things that have gone wrong. So obviously, if it's a bigger disaster or a bigger failure, it can take time to recover from. You might feel angry, you might feel cross with yourself, you might feel upset, you might feel embarrassed. And it's really important to acknowledge those feelings. So don't just bottle those up and think, oh, I shouldn't feel like that, I should just be learning from this experience. Please do take time to feel those things and to look after yourself as well. So I always make sure that if something bad has happened or something hasn't worked or I've got some feedback from someone that's upset me, then I take some time to think about it. I take some time to let myself feel how I feel, and then I make sure I look after myself. So however it's going to make me feel better. So for me, I really like to go for a run or a nice long walk, have a nice long bath, eat a big piece of cake, watch a favourite film, talk to someone about it, and just get kind of those emotions out. But then I want to make sure I can learn from what went wrong. So how can I improve things? So, can I put some system in place that makes it sure that doesn't happen again? How can I maybe change things? Was I looking to do something that people just didn't actually want? So did I act faster than I should have done? Should I have reflected on that? Should I have done a tiny little experiment to check people really wanted that before I went all in and made a course, for example? Should I look again? So if I have got this business idea and it looks like it isn't working, what can I learn? What can I learn from what people are responding to, and what can I learn from the things that people aren't responding to? And how can I change that, and how can I keep growing? So keep growing myself personally and keep growing my business. So I try to divide the two out, because I think sometimes it's really easy to take everything personally. So if someone is complaining about something to do with your business or a product or, something, it's very easy to take that as a real personal criticism. And so I try to get my head around which bits are to do with me and maybe my behavior or the way that I am working and what can I improve there, and then which bits are to do with my business and how can I improve that and not take it personally. So see it as more of a challenge. Okay, so that didn't work. How can I make it work? So I really like to see everything that goes wrong as a challenge. So a friend of mine once said to me, because I was saying, I hate emails. Emails are so stressful. And when you get those emails from a customer who's grumpy and they're cross about something, they're the worst ones. And she said, they're my favourite. And I was like, what do you mean they're your favourite? And she said, because I see it as a challenge. And I see those emails as a challenge. I see an upset, grumpy customer as a challenge for how can I make them not grumpy and upset? What can I do? Either what can I do right there and then for that customer, or what can I do for my business to make sure I don't get that happen again? Sometimes it's just to do with the person that you're dealing with, and it is not your fault. Maybe your service or your product just isn't a right fit for that person. So sometimes it might feel like, well, actually I didn't do anything wrong, but you can even grow from that. So if that person has come to you and it's a wrong fit, then can you look at how to make sure someone like that doesn't come again? So can you maybe explain on your website a bit more about how your product or your service works to ensure that people are coming who are a really good fit? So for example, if you come to Makelight and you want really lengthy, long texts, really in-depth, long texts on each lesson, that is not what I do. It's not the way that I teach. And so my way of teaching probably isn't going to line up with your way of wanting to learn. So it's really important to try and explain what you're doing as much as you can to try and help when you get those misaligned fits with customers or clients or people that you're working with. So sometimes it might not you might think, well, there's nothing I didn't do anything wrong there. How can I learn from that? Well, maybe by explaining a little bit more about what you're offering might help that to not happen again. So I think you can grow in all sorts of areas. I'm always looking at how we can keep on improving the morning school run, for example, at home. Every morning it feels like I failed. Not every morning, but it is stressful getting 4 children to school. And so I am always looking, okay, right, what did we do well this morning and what did not go well? And is there anything I can do so that we can fix that bit? Or is there anything I can do in the way that I respond to X, Y, and Z? And can I work on that? So I think you can always learn from things that go wrong, whatever's going wrong. So, do you regularly run out of milk and bread at home, for example? Can you fix that? So it can even be little things. And actually, if you practice learning from the little things that go wrong, I think it can really, really help you when bigger things go wrong and when you have a much bigger to deal with. Because there will be things in life that we don't expect or don't anticipate or, really don't want to deal with. And it's really learning how we personally deal with things and how we can learn and grow from everything that happens to us. So both the successes that we talked about last week and also the failures and the not so good stuff that we're talking about now. So I did write a little bit more about this, and there's a blog post on the Makelight site which I will link up if you haven't read that already. But I really recommend, it's the 1st of March today, so if you're watching this on the 1st of March, or even if you're not watching this on the 1st of March and you're watching it later in March or even in the summer, you can do this exercise at any time, but it just works really, really well at the very end, very beginning of a month. Sit down and really think about your February and what was really good about it. Do the good stuff first, because that will put you in a positive frame of mind, because if you start with the bad, you're probably not going to get to the good, and it's going to be trickier to keep yourself going. So do the good first, then look at the bad. What didn't work? What didn't work? What went wrong? And then how can this new month be better? What can you do this month that is going to be better? Often I cannot manage to fix everything in the month. So it might be that, several things went wrong. I'm like, okay, right, there's something wrong with the website. There's something wrong with my email system. Something went wrong with this particular customer and that bit kind of needs fixing. Our school mornings were terrible and kept running out of bread or something like that. So it might not be that I can fix all of those things in the coming month, but there will definitely be some things that I can fix, and I try to find some things that I or fix or grow or learn from. So I try to find some things that I can definitely action in the coming month, because that will make me feel better and stronger, and that will make sure I'm growing from month to month. And then there might be some other kind of more longer term things like, okay, I've got to implement these new strategies, and that's going to take me longer to do than 4 weeks, but it's definitely something that I can keep working on and coming back to. So don't feel defeated if your list of better seems a bit overwhelming. You're like, how am I going to do all that? How am I going to make all those changes just in 1 month? You're probably not. So pick some really nice, easy wins that you can be like, okay, that didn't work. If I do this, I think it's going to work. And I think that when I get to the end of March and I'm doing this exercise again, that is going to be on my good list and not in my bad list. So make sure you get those quicker, easier growths or wins or changes in your systems, or changes in the way that you are doing something at home. Then get those nice and early into the month and make those become routine, and then work on the bigger things. So if you're like, oh, this really was a disaster and it's a bigger thing, that's obviously going to take longer to fix. So don't be defeated by just seeing this massive list of stuff that never gets done. Just take it bit by bit and make sure that when it comes to the end of next month, some of those things that went wrong are then successes on your good list, because then you will feel like, first of all, you'll feel like it's worth doing, and secondly, you'll feel like you really are growing and learning as you go, and it will really help you, I promise. And it will help you also when things go wrong. So when you get those emails, when I get emails from grumpy clients now, always think of my friend, and I always think of that lunch when we're having the conversation, and I think, all right, what would she do in this situation? Okay, I'm not going to cry for an hour. I'm going to look at how I can help this and turn this around, either for this person or for this not happening again. So that kind of behaviour is really important as well, so that you feel stronger and more resilient to deal with things when they go wrong. And also it's making sure that you are always little bit moving forward and growing all the time. I also do this exercise at the end of the year, so that's much more of a bigger thing and a bigger exercise to do, to make sure that I am celebrating what happened in the year, but I am also really learning from the things that didn't work in the year, and that I am not going to make those same mistakes in the coming year. And it really, really helps me to feel like I am always growing as a person, always growing as a business owner, and I'm always pushing all my whole life along. So I'm pushing family life along, me as a person along, business life, relationships, pushing it all forward in a good and positive direction. So I hope that has been inspiring and given you some thoughts today about how you can think about things that didn't go well or don't go well, and how you can turn those around and learn from them and keep on growing. So I'm just going to open this up onto my laptop to see if any of you have asked me questions, or if you've got any comments or thoughts about this. And it always takes me a minute on a Facebook page. For some reason, Facebook have decided that on a Facebook page they're going to put the live video quite far down. It's a bit annoying. But here, no, that was last week, so why am I not here? Let's pop up. It's always frustrating for me. I wish that it kind of automatically would open for me, but the tech's not there yet. Let's see if we can get this open. But if you do have questions, then type them in while here I am. My jumper, it's absolutely freezing here in London today, which is why I've got this big cozy jumper on. I've got a blanket on my lap. You can probably see the snow. It's not very clear, but that is the white is snow out there. and I've got my cup of tea, and I've got a million layers on, so I feel a bit like the Michelin Man. Right, here we go. So Gemma has said, my school run with 2 are so stressful. I have my sympathies. Yeah, school runs are just generally stressful, aren't they? I find actually once we're out the door, it's not too bad, but it's getting us out the door is quite hard. Actually, my eldest now, she is 11, and she's actually very good at getting herself ready in the morning, and she leaves earlier than we do, just because she likes to be there absolutely on time, or a bit early, I think, and meet her friends along the way and stuff. So I kind of only have 3, the very last bit, which is when it always seems to go wrong. I only have 3 at that point, but yeah, it is tricky. So here's a good comment. So sometimes it's just about having a plan to deal with an issue if it happens again, because even with the best will in the world, you can't fix everything. It's so true, you can't fix everything, and I think that is really right, like having a plan. So if something has gone wrong and you can think, okay, if that happens again, I'm going to do X, Y and Z, or I'm going to do this to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And then you have fixed one part, haven't you? You fix something, and then you can keep on growing, because you cannot, nothing is perfect. It's never going to be perfect. You know, if you think that you are waiting to do something, and this is very often, people have a fear of failure, so they do not do anything because they are scared that it's not perfect. So I am not going to release my blog yet, because I want to have 30 perfectly written posts on there before anyone can see it, because it's not perfect until I have reached that, that goal. Or I'm not going to release my website yet because X, Y and Z. Or I'm not going to start my social media because I haven't finished my website. So I won't start that either, because I don't want to, everything has to be completely lined up. It's never going to be completely perfect. So being confident to go out there, make a start, and being confident that you can deal with it if it's not 100% perfect, and there will be wobbles and there will be some failures, and that is okay. So to be confident will really, really help you to go for it and just start. Because seriously, if I had waited, then we wouldn't have Makelight, because I would still be waiting for everything to be perfect. I would still, I don't know what I would be ticking off, but I speak to a lot of people. I help a lot of people start things and have that confidence to go on, do it, or at least make some small steps. Even if you can't have everything now, maybe you want to launch your website, but you don't have enough budget to then get your business cards done, and you feel like you can't launch your website without your business cards. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just using that as an example. Then you just wait and you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait, and then a website never gets launched, and you need to be out there doing your thing and knowing that we all make mistakes. There's always things that are going to go wrong, and that is okay, and it's especially okay if we learn from those mistakes and keep moving forward. So there we go. Here is a great question. So Sarah has asked, how do you go about writing down your challenges to be able to action? So this is such a good question, and it's something that I'm always kind of working on to try and find the optimum way to do this. So as I said, you do your good, bad, better, and you have your better column, and there will be some things that you can probably do straight away and tick off. Maybe you need to make a change to your website, or your pricing wasn't clear enough, or something went wrong there, and it's like an easy fix, and you fix that. But then there'll be these other things that maybe you need to do in your personal life, or maybe you need to do in your work, but it's going to be a longer project. How do you put them somewhere so that they don't just disappear forevermore? So what I try to do is I have 2 methods for this. One, I have a notebook on the go. So notebooks aren't necessarily a wonderful thing, but I have one notebook that will be my notebook of the moment. And I basically keep going in that notebook until I've filled it, and then I get another one. And so in the notebook, I will write a list of things, and then I will move them across. So if things haven't been done or ticked off, then they get moved onto the next page and added. So they keep kind of going and going and going until I get to the end of the notebook, and then hopefully they should get moved into the next notebook. But then I also have, we also use paper, which is by Dropbox. So paper is amazing. You can open, I just really like it. I just like the way it is, because literally it's like a blank piece of paper, but on your computer or on your phone, and you can share it with anybody. So if you're working in a team, it's really good. Or even if you're not working in a team, but you might be working in a team in the future, it's really helpful, because you're not filling a notebook, because it can be quite, you don't really want to give someone your notebook. Well, you might do, but probably not. And if you're bringing in team in the future, or if you have team now, you can share these basically electronic pieces of paper. I just really love the way it's so simple to make. And so I make one at the beginning of each month, and again, you can tick things off, you can strike them out so you can still see them, you can put a line through them, and then anything that's left over, then I push it through to the next month. And I have many papers, so there's lots going on. Some I am making because I will be bringing in team later this year, so I'm kind of making templates and notes on particular things and processes and adding to that as I go. And then I'm also, having these to-do lists. So my husband Steph does all the tech for Makelight at the moment, but he also has a full-time job with his own company. So that's quite tricky, because he can only work in the evenings and the weekends, and so we need to have a really good tight way of communicating with each other with these to-do lists basically, and these challenges. So this didn't go well in February, we need to do X, Y and Z to change that in March. And so I use the paper doc to document all that, and I just pull things across to the next month. So anything that's left on January's will be pulled through to February's, will be pulled through to March, and that's how I go. And it's also a really good way to trace things. So if you have said that you're going to do something in January, and that's like carrying on, and you're in June and it's still going onto the list in June and nothing's happened, do you need to look at that? Because that shouldn't be still happening. But it's also good for going back and reflecting and wow, look how much we've changed and how much we've done, because it can be sometimes, especially when you work for yourself, you can feel really defeated and deflated, and you can often lose energy, because it takes a lot of energy. You've got to keep going, you've got to keep the momentum going. And some days you can be like, oh, I haven't done anything, I haven't achieved anything, this month has been rubbish, or this week or this day has been rubbish. And being able to look back and go, but look at all the things that I ticked off in February, it was amazing. So I do really that's why I like to have my notebook, because I'm a real paper and pen person. Really helps my brain work that way. But I also like to have the paper doc, so I can have that electronic version, because sometimes my notebooks get lost, but the electronic version obviously can be accessed from anywhere, anytime, by anyone I want to share it with. So that's the way I do it. That other people might have other ways to do it, but some people use software that does this and helps, like Trello is really good. But I just find I keep on coming back to basically a paper and pen, or the equivalent of that on a text file with Dropbox paper. That's just the way I personally work. But other people love to use Trello boards, or there are many things similar to Trello that you might want to try if you like something a bit more structured. But that's how I do it. So there we go. So I've got some questions up here. I'm glad I'm not the only one who likes bullet journaling. Yeah, so Penny, I guess the way I work is a little bit like bullet journaling. And every time I really want to get into bullet journaling, and every time I kind of go, right, I'm going to do it now, I think I always look when I haven't quite got enough time to set it up, and I need to really put some time in to be like, right, that's going to be my bullet journaling learning day, and I'm actually going to do it, because I know that it would really suit me and suit my way of working. So yes, bullet journaling is on my list, Penny, so thank you for the reminder about that. Yeah, and Sally has said there's an app called Things, which has tick boxes. Yeah, the paper doc, you can also put tick boxes on as well, which I like. So we can tick them off and strike them through if we want to. Things, I think maybe we used that at one point. So yeah. So yeah, everyone has said the analysis paralysis. Yeah, just thinking it's got to be perfect before I can start. And start before you're ready, says Sally. Absolutely, very true. And yeah, absolutely. Chrissia has said, failure is a vital part of success. Nothing teaches you faster than failure. It's so true, so true, so true. Right. Gemma said, so I've got a couple more things I can see there that I'm going to mention. But before I do that, I'm just going to quickly share with you my 3 favourite things. And then I have got a question from Gemma and a question from Stephanie, which I will answer those to end with. But I'm just going to show you my 3 favourite things of the week. And then I'll answer those 2 questions, and then I will let you get on with your Thursday. So the first thing, these are all ready for Easter, are these bunny egg cozies. So I know everyone's here. These are little knitted bunny egg cozies. So they're going to go on top of my children's hard-boiled eggs during the Easter holidays. So I've got to hide these away. They might see them pop up on my Instagram, but probably only my eldest, my little ones, will be surprised by these at Easter. So I've got a sort of pink and orangey one, and a yellow one, and another yellowy orange one, and another pink one. So 4 little bunnies for my children. Oh, and I know that Yvonne has, I think she has done this already. She's put the knitting pattern for these on her Etsy store. So I will link this up for you afterwards. But Yvonne's knitted floppy-eared bunnies. Super cute for Easter, super cute for your Easter styling. Good for an Easter prop box, spring prop box. And I have something else that's good for your spring box. Prop box. So these are from Jane Kent, and these I'm going to also link up for you. These are my little flags. So this one says hello, and this one says hello spring. I am going to be sharing a picture that I've taken with this one on my Makelight Instagram later today, although I was hoping it's going to be a bit more spring-like and not all covered in snow here in London, but anyway. And I love this one as well, work hard and be kind. So I will link these up as well. Super, super cute. You could put them, you could put that like on a cake, you could put it in a vase, put it obviously in pictures, brilliant for flat lays, brilliant for your spring prop boxes or any time of year prop boxes. And you could, there's so many things you could do with these. So look out for the link, I'll share it afterwards for these as well. Super cute flags, Liberty flags with lovely hand stitching, machine stitching, but like the lettering on, so clever, I couldn't do that. And finally, I've got a new book, Sundays in Paris. I really love this because it says Sundays in Paris, but then it says, and every other day of the week. And it's a lovely book. I'm off to Paris this weekend. Fingers crossed I'm off to Paris this weekend. With all this snow, I'm slightly anxious about travel, but fingers crossed I am going to Paris this weekend. So look out for lots of photos, Instagram stories, and blog posts coming. But it's full of lovely places to eat and shop and go to in the evening, and it's just beautiful, and lots of if you're thinking of going to Paris, or you have any friends who are thinking of going to Paris, it would make a lovely present for them. And it's full of lovely Instagrammable, photo-friendly, beautiful places in Paris. So I've been doing some research and I'm really excited. So that's a new book. It hasn't been out very long. And it's by Yasmin Zainab, but I will also put the link to that for you. So all the links will be shared afterwards, so you can look any of that up if you want to. So I'm just going to answer these last 2 questions and then let you have a lovely Thursday. So the first one is from Gemma, and she's asked, talking about children, how do you know where to draw the line between sharing your family online and keeping something private? I'm a chronic oversharer. Okay, so this is something that I am always thinking about. I'm talking about with my children, talking about with my husband, to make sure we are continually all lined up and on the same page. So one line I have always had is that I don't want to share anything that could embarrass my children in the future. So any images that that make them look maybe a bit silly or funny, anything that anyone at school in the future could use to bully them with, basically. Or any future employer, many years down the line is, going to laugh at or is going to think is silly. So I'm very careful not to, put pictures that we might have as a family and go, haha, remember, that was so funny. We just keep for ourselves. My older children now obviously get to approve things and have a greater understanding. In fact, all my children now have a greater understanding of where I am sharing things, and I show them on my Instagram. I show them, where they are being shared. So the blog. I learned maybe a year or two ago that at school, when they start using Google and learning how to use Google at school, they all Google themselves, and then obviously my children came up quite a lot. My kids have been in the newspapers, and a lot of their kind of social media things were coming up as well, things that were in my social media, bringing them up. And now they were really proud of everything that they found online, and that is how I want it to be. So that is how I do it. And then I'm also just conscious about not sharing everything. You can't find my children in their school uniform online unless their badge is completely hidden. So at the beginning of the year, when we take that picture of them all on the doorstep, we make sure that you can't see their school badges. So they either have their coats on, or they just kind of hold their bags in ways that the badges, you can't see them. That's just something I'm just a little bit cautious of. I don't really know why, because I'm sure it would be absolutely fine, but I'm just conscious of that. So anything with their school badge on only goes on my private Facebook, and I have that quite locked down as well. So that's kind of how I do it, really. And I just always, I'm often thinking about it. How much do I want to share? At the beginning, not the beginning, on their birthday, well, yes, that is a beginning, isn't it? Because that's the beginning of a new year for them. But on their birthday every year, I write them a letter, and I used to publish those letters, and you can see them, and I don't mind them being online for my children. But when they're 18, I'm going to be giving them those letters in a book. And I realised that because my older children are now much more active online and seeing what I'm doing, I kind of want that to be a bit more of a surprise for them. So now I'm not publishing those letters anymore, and I'm just writing them and keeping them for myself and for my children. So it's that kind of thing. It's just always thinking and reflecting about how I do it. And it's different for every family, and there's no rules on this, which I think is why it can be tricky. But just make sure that you talk to your children about it as they grow up, really. That's what I would say. And Stephanie said, I don't actually know why so few people see my posts on Instagram. Getting only around 50 likes each. I'd love to know whether it's because people don't like what I post or whether I'm doing something wrong. Okay, Stephanie, so the first thing is I don't know how many followers you have, so it's difficult to know what kind of engagement you've got compared to how many followers you've got. Engagement on social media is always going to be, or usually going to be, way smaller than you imagine. Just the same as if you send an email out, your newsletter list, you will not get anything like 100% open rate. You probably won't even get 50% open rate. And it can really make you go, what? Why is no one opening my emails? Why is no one seeing my posts? Why are people not engaging? Where are they? Well, where are they indeed? I don't really know. They are busy because the online world is really busy. Our inboxes are really busy. So the fact that it's busy is one reason that you won't get the number of likes that you kind of hope to get. The other thing is it's really, 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 really important that you are engaging with your audience. So once you've posted your picture on Instagram, you need to be connecting with people. So you need to be liking images, you need to be going and commenting on other people's, you need to be looking at any hashtags that you've used. You really need to be using hashtags, making sure that your images are being seen in other places, as well as in the feed. You probably need to be using Instagram stories if you're not using that already, because people's engagement is now split between looking in the feed and looking at Instagram stories. So if you're not appearing in there enough, it might be that people are missing you. The Instagram algorithms are at play, so it's no longer chronological, so people genuinely probably are not seeing what you are doing. It's not that they don't like what you're doing, they're just not seeing it. So you really have to be active. So try and post on Instagram at a time when you can stay around for 10 minutes or, 5, 10, 15 minutes if you can, and engage. Don't just like images, make sure you're commenting on things, make sure you're going into hashtags, exploring, finding new people to follow on the explore page, really being part of Instagram and not just putting your image there and running away and hoping that people will see it. So that is my advice to you. And also to not get too upset about it, because we can really get caught up with how many likes we've got for something. 50 people liking your image is amazing. That's nearly 2 whole class loads of children at school. I always use class loads of children at school as ways of counting how many people, because it's kind of something we kind of all grew up with, didn't we? We all sat, well, unless you were homeschooled, but the majority of us sat in a classroom with around 30 other children. So that is a good kind of like, wow, that was quite a lot of people. And if that's nearly 2 of those classes, that's a lot of people. I think we can get really sidetracked with wanting more and wondering whether it's worth it. For 50 people to like your thing, that still makes it worth it and still makes it a good thing to be doing and putting out there. So try not to get upset. That's for all of you. Try not to get upset and stuck in a kind of vicious circle over a number of likes and comments. And really, you have to go out and put in what you kind of want back. So you have to be part of the community. You have to engage with people, and then they will come and find you as well. So there we go, everyone. That's the end of this Makelight Live, and I hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful, and thank you so much for everyone for joining in. I will be back here again next Thursday at 12 o'clock, and if you didn't catch all this show or you want to watch it again, it will be uploaded to the Facebook page. You can also find it on the Makelight YouTube channel, and it will also be on the Makelight blog as well. And I will share all the links to the lovely things that I shared earlier underneath this post. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay warm and cozy if you are in the UK as well and fighting this snow. So stay warm and cozy. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.